Anxiety is something almost everyone experiences. It can sneak in before an important exam, a job interview, or even during daily life when everything feels overwhelming. But what if you could take back control? What if instead of being trapped by anxious thoughts, you had simple and powerful tools to calm your mind and feel more at peace? In today's video, we'll explore practical strategies to reduce anxiety and create a calmer, more balanced life. Anxiety often feels like an invisible weight pressing down on the body and mind, a restlessness that refuses to subside. One of the most effective and immediate ways to ease this tension is by focusing on deep breathing and body relaxation. Breathing is something we do automatically, yet when we become intentional about it, it transforms into a powerful tool for calming the nervous system. When anxiety rises, the body's fight-or-flight response takes over. Heart rate increases, muscles tense, and breathing becomes shallow. This shallow breathing only signals to the brain that danger is present, which further intensifies feelings of panic. By consciously practicing slow, deep breaths, the body begins to reverse this cycle, sending messages of safety to the brain and encouraging the nervous system to shift into a state of rest and recovery. Imagine a moment when stress is overwhelming. Perhaps you are about to give a presentation, or maybe you're lying awake at night, unable to quiet racing thoughts. The body feels tight, shoulders are drawn upward, and the chest feels heavy. In these moments, intentionally slowing down the breath can create a sense of grounding. Inhale through the nose, counting slowly to 4, letting the breath expand. The belly, instead of just the chest, hold the breath for a count of 4, allowing the body to pause in stillness. Then exhale gently through the mouth for a count of 6 or 8, letting tension release with the air. This simple pattern, sometimes called box breathing, is used not only in therapy sessions but also by athletes, military personnel, and individuals in hypersure roles who need to keep calm under stress. Deep breathing is often paired with body relaxation techniques, as anxiety does not only live in the mind, it settles into the muscles, creating knots of tension. Progressive muscle relaxation is one such method that works by deliberately tightening and then releasing different muscle groups, one by one. For example, clench your fists tightly for a few seconds. Then slowly release them, noticing the difference between tension and relaxation. Move on to the shoulders, scrunching them toward the ears, holding and then letting go. This process teaches the body to recognize signs of stress and provides a pathway back to relaxation. Over time, practicing such exercises conditions the body to release tension more quickly whenever anxiety arises. The beauty of these practices is that they require no special equipment or environment. Whether sitting at a desk, lying in bed, or standing in a crowded elevator, focusing on breathing or gently releasing tension can provide immediate relief. These practices reconnect a person to the present moment. Often, anxiety thrives on what-if scenarios, thoughts about the future, or regrets about the past. Breathing brings attention back to the here and now, where the body exists in real time. This mindfulness effect enhances the calming power of each breath, making the act more than just physical. It becomes mental and emotional grounding as well. Scientific research supports the effectiveness of deep breathing and relaxation techniques. Studies show that slow diaphragmatic breathing reduces cortisol levels, the hormone responsible for stress, and activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is designed to restore calm after a stressful event. Similarly, progressive muscle relaxation has been shown to decrease physical symptoms of anxiety such as elevated heart rate and muscle tightness. For individuals who experience chronic anxiety, incorporating these practices daily can gradually reduce the baseline level of tension in both body and mind. In addition to formal techniques, there are creative ways to integrate relaxation into daily routines. Yoga, for instance, combines breath control with physical postures that stretch and relax the body. Meditation often begins with a focus on the breath, guiding attention inward. Even something as simple as taking a slow walk while paying attention to the rhythm of breathing can serve as a moving meditation. The key is consistency, making relaxation a habit, rather than something practiced only when stress becomes overwhelming. It is also worth noting that learning to breathe deeply and relax the body is not about ignoring or suppressing anxiety. Instead, it is about responding to anxiety in a way that prevents it from spiraling out of control. When the body learns to stay calm, the mind follows, and vice versa. Over time, anxiety begins to lose its power, because the individual knows they have tools to manage it. This sense of control can itself be deeply reassuring, reducing the fear of anxiety's return. Some people may initially struggle with these techniques. It is common to feel restless or even more aware of anxiety when first attempting to focus on the breath. This is why patience and practice are essential. Start small, with just a minute or two of deep breathing each day. Gradually, building up to longer sessions, pairing the practice with daily activities such as taking a few deep breaths before checking emails, or doing a quick relaxation exercise before bed makes it easier to integrate into life. There is also the emotional aspect of relaxation that should not be overlooked. Anxiety often makes people feel disconnected from themselves, trapped in their heads, and at war with their own bodies. Breathing and relaxation exercises offer a way back to self-compassion. Each deep breath is an act of kindness, a reminder that the body deserves care and attention. Each moment of release from tension affirms that peace is possible, even if only for a few moments at a time. This shift in relationship with the self is powerful, because confidence and calm grow when a person feels at home in their own body. Consider, too, the ripple effect. Someone who learns to regulate their anxiety through breathing and relaxation may find they communicate more clearly, sleep more soundly, and approach challenges with greater resilience. These changes, though subtle, build on each other until they form a foundation of strength. Life's stressors do not disappear, but the way they are experienced changes. The storms remain, but the inner anchor holds firm. In conclusion, deep breathing and body relaxation are not magical cures for anxiety, but they are powerful, practical tools that anyone can learn. They remind us that, even in the midst of overwhelming fear or stress, we have some control over our response. Each inhale and exhale is a chance to step back from panic and step into calm. By practicing consistently, these techniques not only provide relief in the moment but also build long-term resilience, allowing individuals to face life's challenges with greater confidence and ease. Body language plays a far greater role in shaping our confidence than many people realize. While words and thoughts influence how we feel internally, the way we carry ourselves sends powerful signals not only to others but also to our own minds. Anxiety and self-doubt often show themselves through slouched shoulders, downward glances, or closed-off gestures. These postures communicate weakness or discomfort, which can reinforce feelings of insecurity. By contrast, standing tall, making eye contact, and using open gestures not only project confidence to those around us, but also help us feel more assured within ourselves. Understanding and practicing positive body language is therefore a cornerstone of reducing anxiety and building self-confidence. Imagine walking into a room filled with strangers. The natural instinct for someone feeling nervous might be to shrink inward, avoid eye contact, and hope to go unnoticed. But the very act of doing so can make the person feel even smaller, as though they have no right to be in the space. Now picture entering the same room, shoulders back, head lifted, and with a calm but steady gaze. Even if nerves are present, internally, this posture begins to shift perception, both your own and others. The body is telling the mind, I belong here, I am capable. Over time, repeatedly practicing such gestures makes confidence a habit rather than an occasional performance. There is strong scientific evidence behind this phenomenon. Psychologists have long studied the connection between posture and emotional states. For instance, research on power poses suggests that holding expansive positions even for a short time can influence hormonal levels related to stress and dominance. While some findings in this area are debated, the broader consensus remains. Posture and expression influence how we feel about ourselves. Smiling, even when it does not feel natural, can trigger a subtle lift in mood because the brain associates the facial expression with happiness. Likewise, sitting upright instead of slouching has been shown to reduce stress and improve focus. These simple adjustments remind us that the body and mind are deeply interconnected. Eye contact is another vital element of body language. For someone with anxiety, holding eye contact can feel intimidating, almost as if every flaw is being exposed. Yet avoiding it often creates more discomfort, signaling nervousness or lack of honesty. The key is, balanced eye contact should be steady but not unbroken, warm rather than piercing. When you look at someone directly for a few seconds before glancing away, you establish presence and respect. Practicing this in everyday conversations, whether with a cashier, colleague, or friend, builds comfort and eventually translates into more confident interactions in larger settings. Gestures also play a role. Closed body language, such as crossing arms or hiding hands in pockets, unconsciously communicates defensiveness or lack of openness. By contrast, open gestures or resting arms comfortably at the sides, using hands naturally when speaking signal receptiveness and assurance. This does not mean exaggerating movements or forcing artificial expressions. The goal is authenticity, allowing the body to reflect calmness and presence rather than fear. It is less about pretending to be someone else and more about uncovering the confident posture that already exists within. Breathing, which was central in the previous section, intertwines with body language here as well. Shallow, rapid breaths often go hand in hand with hunched posture and nervous gestures. When the breath is slowed and deepened, the shoulders relax, the spine straightens, and gestures become more fluid. This creates a cycle of calm. Body supports breath, breath supports body, and together they quiet the anxious mind. Practicing positive body language requires conscious effort at first. One effective exercise is to practice in front of a mirror. Notice how your posture changes when you slouch versus when you stand tall. Observe how your face looks when tense compared to when you smile softly. Another method is to record yourself speaking, then review how you appear to others. This can feel uncomfortable initially, but it provides valuable awareness. Over time, adjustments that once felt forced begin to feel natural. It is also helpful to consider role models. Think of speakers, leaders, or even friends whose presence feels magnetic. Chances are, their body language contributes significantly to that impression. They may not always be the tallest or the most attractive, but the way they carry themselves exudes assurance. Studying and emulating these behaviors without mimicking them exactly can provide inspiration for developing your own confident presence. Importantly, improving body language is not about putting on a mask or pretending to be someone else. It is about aligning your physical presence with the confidence you want to embody. For someone struggling with anxiety, adopting strong body language can feel like an act of bravery. Each time you choose to stand tall or make eye contact, you are sending a message to yourself that you are capable of facing the world. Over time, these small acts accumulate, shifting not only how others perceive you, but also how you perceive yourself. The impact of body language extends beyond personal feelings into practical opportunities. In job interviews, strong posture and calm gestures can distinguish you as a prepared candidate. In social situations, they make others more comfortable engaging with you. In relationships, they convey attentiveness and trustworthiness. These outcomes reinforce the benefits, creating a feedback loop. The more positive body language you use, the more positive responses you receive, which in turn strengthens your confidence further. Ultimately, body language is both a reflection of inner states and a tool for reshaping them. By becoming intentional about posture, eye contact, and gestures, you can create a bridge between how you want to feel and how you currently feel. Anxiety may still appear, but with each deliberate adjustment, you are choosing not to let it dictate. Your presence, confidence then, is not only something you cultivate in the mind, but also something you express and reinforce through the body. It is a language without words, one that speaks volumes to others and, perhaps more importantly, to yourself. Skill development is one of the most powerful and practical ways to reduce anxiety and build lasting confidence. Unlike body language, which can shift perception in the moment, developing your knowledge and abilities creates a deeper, more enduring sense of self-reliance. When you know that you have the skills to handle challenges, uncertainty feels less overwhelming. The fear of failure diminishes because you have prepared yourself through practice and learning. In other words, competence breeds confidence. For many people, anxiety arises from the feeling of being unprepared or inadequate. Imagine being asked to give a presentation at work without fully understanding the subject. The heart races, the palms sweat, and self-doubt fills the mind. Now, compare that scenario to giving the same presentation after weeks of study, practice, and rehearsal. While nerves may still be present, they are balanced by the quiet knowledge. I am ready. I can do this. This difference illustrates why skill development is such a vital foundation for confidence. One of the first steps in this process is identifying the areas in which you feel most anxious or insecure. For some, it may be public speaking. For others, it might be technical expertise, social interactions, or even daily tasks like managing time effectively. Once these areas are clear, setting intentional goals for improvement helps transform fear into action. Rather than avoiding challenges, you approach them with the mindset of a learner. Every mistake becomes part of the training ground, not a verdict on your worth. Continuous learning also nurtures resilience. Life is full of unexpected challenges, and skills provide tools to navigate them. A person who has learned problem-solving techniques, communication strategies, or conflict management feels more capable when difficulties arise. Anxiety loses its grip because the unknown becomes less frightening when you trust your ability to adapt, just as a sailor feels more secure knowing how to read the winds and tides. You feel more confident navigating life's storms when your skills are sharpened. Practical examples highlight this point. Take the case of someone who fears networking events because they feel awkward initiating conversations. By studying communication techniques such as asking open-ended questions or practicing active listening, they gain strategies to manage these interactions. At first, conversations may still feel uncomfortable, but over time, the new skills reduce nervousness and make socializing more natural. Another example is learning financial literacy. Anxiety about money often stems from not understanding how to budget, invest, or plan. Developing these skills turns financial stress into a sense of control and empowerment. Skill development also fosters self-respect. When you dedicate time to improving yourself, you send a signal to your own mind that you are worth the effort. Each new skill acquired is proof that you are capable of growth. This builds not only external confidence but also internal pride. It shifts identity from someone who can't to someone who learns and adapts. That shift is crucial in overcoming anxiety because it transforms challenges from threats into opportunities. A growth mindset plays a key role here. This mindset, popularized by psychologist Carol Dweck, emphasizes the belief that abilities can be developed through effort and practice, rather than being fixed traits. People with a growth mindset view mistakes as learning opportunities rather than failures. When you adopt this perspective, anxiety decreases because the pressure to be perfect is replaced by the freedom to experiment and improve. Every skill you work on becomes part of a larger journey, not a final judgment. Technology and modern resources make skill development more accessible than ever. Online courses, podcasts, books, and workshops allow learning at your own pace. Whether you want to learn a new language, improve leadership abilities, or develop emotional intelligence, countless resources are available. The key is consistency. Spending even 15 minutes each day practicing a skill compounds over time, leading to significant improvement. This steady progress naturally boosts confidence, as each milestone becomes evidence of your capability. It is important to remember that skill development is not limited to professional abilities. Personal skills such as cooking, exercising, or creative pursuits also contribute to confidence. A person who learns to play an instrument, paint, or cook healthy meals experiences pride in those achievements, which extends into other areas of life. Anxiety often thrives in the belief that you are powerless. Every new skill reminds you that you have agency, that you can create change in yourself and your environment. Another layer of skill development lies in emotional regulation, and these are often overlooked but profoundly impactful. Learning techniques such as mindfulness, meditation, or journaling equips you to manage stress more effectively. These skills directly reduce anxiety by giving you tools to calm the mind and reframe negative thoughts. Unlike external achievements, these inner skills provide support from within, ensuring that confidence is not dependent solely on circumstances but also on your inner strength. Over time, skill development builds a powerful feedback loop. As you gain new abilities, you feel more confident. That confidence encourages you to take on greater challenges, which leads to further skill growth. Each cycle strengthens both capability and assurance. Anxiety does not vanish completely, but it no longer controls your actions. Instead, it becomes a manageable part of the growth process, a signal that you are stepping into new territory where more skills can be learned. Ultimately, skill development is a path to sustainable confidence because it rests on evidence, not illusion. Body language and positive self-talk can create immediate shifts, but skill development provides the substance behind those shifts. It is one thing to tell yourself, "I can do this," and another to know you truly can because you have practiced, studied, and prepared. In this way, learning becomes not only a shield against anxiety but also a source of lasting empowerment. Stepping out of your comfort zone is perhaps one of the most transformative yet challenging strategies to reduce anxiety and build confidence. The comfort zone feels safe, it is predictable, familiar, and reassuring. But it is also a place where growth stagnates and fears remain unchallenged. Anxiety thrives in avoidance. The more we retreat from discomfort, the larger our fears become. To shrink anxiety, you must gently but consistently expand the boundaries of what feels comfortable. Consider the nature of fear itself. Most fears are not about actual danger, but about imagined outcomes: rejection, failure, embarrassment, or loss of control. When these fears dominate, people often withdraw into routines where nothing new or risky occurs. The short-term relief feels good, but over time, this avoidance strengthens the fear. Stepping out of your comfort zone interrupts this cycle. Each time you face discomfort, you prove to yourself that the worst-case scenarios are rarely as catastrophic as imagined. This realization weakens the grip of anxiety. The process does not require dramatic leaps. In fact, trying to force yourself into extreme situations often backfires, causing more stress than growth. Instead, progress comes through small, deliberate steps. Psychologists call this approach exposure therapy, where you gradually expose yourself to the source of your fear in manageable doses. For example, if social anxiety prevents you from speaking up, the first step might be greeting a cashier warmly instead of avoiding eye contact. Over time, you might initiate a short conversation with a colleague, then volunteer to share an idea in a meeting, and eventually feel ready to give a presentation. Each step builds resilience, proving to your nervous system that discomfort can be tolerated and overcome. One of the keys to successfully stepping out of your comfort zone is adopting a mindset of experimentation rather than perfection. When you approach new experiences as experiments, the pressure decreases. Instead of expecting flawless performance, you treat each attempt as data. If something goes well, you celebrate the success. If it does not, you learn and adjust. This perspective turns anxiety into curiosity. Rather than asking, "What if I fail?" you begin asking, "What might I discover?" That shift opens space for growth without the heavy weight of fear. Another benefit of leaving the comfort zone is the expansion of personal identity. Anxiety often ties people to limiting labels. "I'm shy. I'm not good at that. I can't handle pressure." Each time you do something outside your usual patterns, you challenge those labels. When someone who believes they can't talk to strangers has a pleasant 5-minute conversation with a new acquaintance, their self-concept shifts. Bit by bit, you rewrite the narrative of who you are. Over time, this creates a more flexible and confident identity. Practical examples can illustrate this vividly. Imagine someone who is terrified of traveling alone. Their comfort zone keeps them within their neighborhood, always accompanied by friends or family. But one day they decide to take a short solo trip to a nearby city. The experience feels nerve-wracking at first, navigating the train station, ordering food, walking unfamiliar streets. Yet, by the end of the day, they realize they survived and even enjoyed parts of it. This accomplishment fuels confidence, making the idea of longer or more distant solo travel less intimidating. What once felt impossible becomes possible through gradual exposure. It is also important to acknowledge that discomfort is not inherently harmful. Modern society often equates discomfort with danger, but growth requires tolerating temporary unease. Muscles grow through resistance, and so does confidence. By consciously seeking small discomforts, you train your mind to distinguish between real threats and harmless challenges. Over time, anxiety diminishes because your body learns that nervous sensations, like a racing heart or sweaty palms, are not signals of failure but signs of progress. Support systems play a valuable role in this journey. Facing discomfort alone can feel overwhelming, but with encouragement from friends, mentors, or support groups, the process becomes easier. Sometimes, simply knowing that others believe in you provides the courage to take the next step. Accountability partners can also help, reminding you to keep moving forward when fear tempts you to retreat. Crucially, celebrating small victories fuels motivation. Too often, people dismiss their progress because it seems minor compared to the ultimate goal, but each step outside your comfort zone deserves recognition. Whether it is making a phone call you have been dreading, trying a new hobby, or sharing your opinion in a group, acknowledging these achievements reinforces your sense of capability. Small wins accumulate into big changes. Over time, consistently, stepping out of your comfort zone rewires your relationship with anxiety. Instead of seeing fear as a stop sign, you begin to see it as a signal that growth is near. The presence of nervousness becomes less threatening because you know it is temporary and manageable. With repeated exposure, the situations that once triggered anxiety now feel routine. What was once your edge becomes your new normal, and your comfort zone expands to include more of life's opportunities. Ultimately, stepping out of your comfort zone is about choosing growth over stagnation. It requires courage, patience, and self-compassion, but the rewards are profound. By taking small risks regularly, you not only reduce anxiety, but also cultivate resilience, adaptability, and self-trust. Each step forward proves that you are stronger than your fears and more capable than you believed. Consistency and practice form the backbone of reducing anxiety in the long run. While mindfulness, lifestyle changes, therapy, and stepping out of your comfort zone provide powerful tools, their effectiveness depends on regular application, is rarely conquered in a single breakthrough moment. Instead, it fades gradually through repetition, persistence, and the steady building of new habits. Just as physical fitness requires continuous training, mental resilience develops through consistent practice. One of the most important reasons consistency matters is the brain's tendency to revert to familiar patterns. If you have lived with anxiety for years, your brain has learned to respond to stressors with fear, tension, or avoidance. These neural pathways are well worn, like deeply carved trails in a forest. Occasional attempts at change may help temporarily, but the old patterns quickly reassert themselves if practice is inconsistent. Regular application of anxiety-reducing strategies creates new neural pathways, alternative trails in the forest. Over time, with repetition, these new trails become more dominant, making calm responses more natural and automatic. For example, someone who practices daily deep breathing for just 5 minutes may not notice dramatic changes overnight, but after weeks or months, their body begins to respond differently to stress. The act of taking slow, controlled breaths becomes an automatic coping mechanism rather than a forced effort. Consistency transforms techniques into habits, and habits into second nature. Practice also builds resilience through gradual desensitization. Think of it like strengthening a muscle. The first time you lift a weight, the strain feels uncomfortable, and your body protests. But by lifting regularly, the discomfort lessens and strength increases. Anxiety works the same way. The first time you face a trigger, the fear may feel overwhelming. But with repeated exposure, the fear diminishes. The brain learns, I can survive this, and the emotional reaction softens. Without consistency, the fear remains sharp because the brain has no opportunity to adapt. Another key benefit of consistency is that it prevents setbacks from becoming permanent. Everyone experiences moments when anxiety resurfaces. No matter how much progress has been made, a stressful week, a sudden change, or unexpected challenges can reawaken old fears. When you have established consistent habits, these setbacks are less threatening. They are seen as temporary bumps rather than catastrophic failures. For instance, if journaling and exercise are part of your daily routine, returning to them after a stressful episode feels natural. The structure of regular practice provides stability even during difficult times. Motivation, however, is often the greatest obstacle to consistency. Anxiety itself can sap energy and willpower, making it hard to stick with healthy routines. This is where discipline and planning become crucial. Small, manageable goals are far more sustainable than dramatic but short-lived efforts. Instead of committing to an hour of meditation daily, which may quickly feel overwhelming, you might start with just 3 minutes. The key is not the size of the effort, but the regularity of it. By lowering the barrier to entry, you ensure the practice becomes part of daily life. Tracking progress can also support consistency. Keeping a simple journal of efforts, whether noting the days you practiced breathing, wrote down worries, or faced a fear, provides visible proof of progress. Over time, this record becomes motivating, showing how far you have come, even if anxiety still appears. Some people also benefit from accountability systems, like sharing goals with a friend or therapist, which adds a layer of commitment. Equally important is the practice of self-compassion. Consistency does not mean perfection. There will be days when anxiety wins, when routines are skipped, or when motivation falters. What matters is not avoiding failure entirely, but returning to practice afterward without harsh self-criticism. Research shows that self-compassion actually strengthens resilience, while self-judgment fuels anxiety. By treating yourself kindly, you create the emotional space needed to keep going. Over months and years, the accumulation of small, consistent practices produces profound change. Someone who spends just 10 minutes daily on mindfulness, journaling, or gratitude practices may hardly notice progress week by week. Yet after a year, their baseline anxiety is dramatically reduced, and they approach challenges with greater calm. The shift is subtle but powerful, a transformation, built brick by brick through persistence. This principle of consistency extends beyond personal coping techniques. It also applies to broader life strategies, like maintaining social connections, pursuing hobbies, or developing professional skills. The regular engagement in meaningful activities builds confidence, reduces rumination, and provides a buffer against stress. Each repeated act reinforces the sense of stability and control that anxiety often erodes. Ultimately, consistency and practice are not glamorous. They lack the dramatic appeal of instant fixes or radical breakthroughs, but they are the quiet forces that reshape the mind and body over time. By showing up day after day, even in small ways, you send yourself a powerful message: I am capable of change, and I am committed to growth. That steady commitment is what turns fleeting moments of relief into lasting resilience. In the end, reducing anxiety is less about monumental efforts and more about steady, daily dedication. It is the persistence of small actions, breathing, exercises, mindful pauses, honest self-reflection, gradual challenges that accumulate into lasting change. Like drops of water carving stone, consistency shapes a calmer, stronger, more confident self. With patience and persistence, the overwhelming weight of anxiety lightens, replaced by a sense of balance, trust, and inner peace. Do you want me to now write a final concluding section that ties all 5 strategies together into one closing reflection? Overcoming anxiety is not about finding a magic cure, it is about building a lifestyle of resilience, strength, and self-compassion. Through mindfulness, healthy routines, therapy, and support, stepping out of comfort zones, and consistent practice, anyone can gradually loosen the grip of anxiety and create a calmer, more confident life. Each small step matters, and every bit of progress builds toward lasting change. Remember, your journey is unique, and the most important thing is not perfection, but persistence. If you found these insights helpful, I invite you to join this journey with me. By subscribing to the channel, you're not only supporting this content, you're committing to your own growth. Together, we can build a community of encouragement, positivity, and practical tools for a healthier mind. Don't wait for the perfect time to take control of your anxiety. The best time is now. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and let's grow stronger together. Your future self will thank you.